I have just been itching to use this palette because the colors are super cute and they're very neutral, but also because the inside has little bananas on it up here. And then down at the bottom, all of the shadows are named after puddings. So as you can see, it's a nice neutral palette, and I think it's gonna go along great with my makeup today because I'm not really doing anything. It's super gloomy outside. I'm just gonna go run some errands and then just be on my computer the bulk of the day. So we will dive right in. This is what I use for concealer. I do concealer first. This is the e.l.f. HD Lifting Concealer in Fair. There are only 2 colors that they have of this, and I have tried their, like, I think it's called 16-hour camo concealer or something like that, and I really like the color payoff of it. However, for some reason, it makes my mascara, my everyday mascara that I use all the time, it makes it bleed onto my face, and I don't like that. So I'm going to blend this in with an angled foundation brush by Ulta Beauty. I have used blending sponges and other types of brushes before, but over this last year, I've really made it a point to get into a routine with my makeup. Also, my shirt today is really super cute. So the blending sponges and other types of brushes, like, I don't know, they just take a lot more time for me personally. And I know everyone does their makeup differently, but for how I like my makeup to look and how much time I want to spend on it, I really like using this to buff in my concealer. All right, that's probably good enough. And also I have a mirror down here, which is why I'm looking down. But anyways, next up is foundation, but I don't really use foundation. I use a BB cream. I do have foundations that I use for like special occasions and stuff like that, but I've been really taking care of my skin over the past 4 months probably, like really making an effort to take care of my skin, and I don't feel like I need such a heavy layer of foundation anymore, so I prefer a BB cream, and this is the one that I use. It is just the Maybelline Dream BB Fresh, and I think it's super simple. It's got a light coverage, it's kind of buildable, like if you really need it to be, and I just blend it in with an e.l.f. foundation blurring brush. It's got a nice like heavily packed bristle content in there, and I think that again, for me and my lifestyle and what I want to get out of my makeup, it just does the job for me. So I think one of the reasons a lot of people don't like using brushes on their face is because they get brush marks in their foundation. And I used to get that as well, but I have found that after I kind of do like my initial kind of buff in of my foundation, I go back over everything once it's like dried a little bit and gotten a hair bit tacky, and I just kind of like stipple over it like this, and I feel like that really gets rid of the problem. Next up is setting the foundation. I use the Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder in Fair Light 10 and a huge Ulta Beauty powder brush. I have found with my skin type and the fact that I'm dehydrated a lot of the time, while I like a matte finish, I can't really use foundations or BB creams or primers that are mattifying because they dry me out even more and they clog my pores up really bad. So I go typically with a more hydrating BB cream or foundation, something with a dewy or a satin finish, and then I just set over it with my powder. I actually use a banana powder under my eyes by Essence. I just think that this product is like so finely milled that it does a much better job at setting underneath of my eyes than powder does. Next up, I like to dig into bronzer, and I actually use 2 different bronzers. One is this one by NYC, Smooth Skin Bronzing Face Powder. You can see I have loved this guy to death. This is the 720A, in Sunny. I honestly don't even know if you can get this anymore. I have been using this for forever. I kind of steered away from it for a short bit of time and then started loving it again over the last 4 or 5 months, I'd say. Around the same time I started taking better care of my face. The other thing I like to use is the Pro Contour Pro Fusion contouring palette. These colors are a little more cool tone, and just for me, I find that works a lot better. I think probably because my hair is blue. I don't know, I like the look of it better. So I take the NYC with this big, what is this? This is a Bella Beauty powder brush. It's nice and fluffy, super dense, and I just dip in and kind of go around the edges of my face. Definitely get around your jawline and your neck if it is not the same color as your face. Just keep building and building. That's one thing I do like my products to do. I like to be able to build with my products. I don't want them to just like go on and just be kind of stuck on there. So that is it for that. And then I am going to dunk into these two colors. They are not listed. They don't have color names. It's just the lighter and the middle bronzing color. And I'm just gonna carve out a little bit more. Okay, so next we're gonna dive into blush. Another product from Essence. This is just the Essence Matte Touch Blush in 10 Peach Me Up. And I'm just going to use another e.l.f. brush. This is actually an e.l.f. bronzing blush, I believe. But I like it for blush. And I don't put very much on, so honestly I don't even know if the camera will capture it. I do like blush, but my face is kind of red to begin with, so I don't like to really bring too much of that back in because I took all the time concealing it. So that's it for blush. Super quick, not very much. Next up, I am going to use an e.l.f. highlighting brush. Looks like that. It's like a little tulip shape, I guess. And the Kat Von D Metal Crush eyeshadow in Thunderstruck. The packaging looks like this. The nice shimmer. The camera is not gonna pick that up, but it's got a really good shimmer to it. And it's really solid, like. So I love this stuff, and it doesn't take very much. I put about that much on my brush, and that's it for highlighter. As far as highlighters are concerned, one of the reasons I really like this is it has kind of like a gold fleck, but also like a peachy fleck, and it's white, and it really reflects light very well. So again, not very much on my brush. I'm gonna go up here and kind of hit the high points of my face because we powdered and I don't want to look super matte. I do my chin a little bit and my Cupid's bow. Now, everyone does their nose differently. I still have some of this on my finger, so what I'm gonna do is hit the very high point of my nose and then blend it out. I'm gonna hit just in between my eyes here and blend it out. And then whatever is left on my brush, I am just blending down the top here. Now I am gonna go back in with my bronzer here, the same one. And I am using a Morphe M505 brush. And this is what I'm gonna use to contour my nose with. I don't contour my nose every day, but I do it most days. I just like the shape of it, and I'm not really like super contouring. I'm just giving a little bit of shadow in some areas. Because I have, you probably won't be able to see this. I've got like a big, well, now I've got a big chunk of highlighter. I've got this big area right here that is actually a dent in my nose from a chicken pox scar when I was younger. So in order to hide that just a little bit, a lot of people kind of go across their nose to give the illusion of a button nose. And I do that also, but not necessarily for the illusion of a button nose, but more so to hide the scar. And the button nose appearance is just kind of a bonus for that. Now, if my highlighter or my bronzer or my blush or anything is just too crazy, I just take my powder brush, or I have another powder brush that's like a little more similar to the e.l.f. foundation brush that I used. It's just flat instead of domed like this one is. But I'll just go over with the same brush, no extra powder, and just kind of like blur or buff. So we can go in and do some under eye highlighting. This is a Wet n Wild something something, because it's so worn off that all you can see is the Wet n Wild. You can't see the ingredients. I don't know what the color is, but this thing was like 79 cents. I've had it forever. And it just works for me. It lasts forever, so I'm just gonna keep using it because it works. And I'm just gonna go in my waterline here with this to kind of brighten my eyes up and help me look a little more awake. My waterline does tend to be a little on the pink side, so this just kind of helps mask that. Next up is brows. We use 3 products for my brows. One is just a spoolie. You can get this anywhere. You can use any kind you want. They're all the same. So I just kind of brush them into a general position because I have very wiry brows. And then next I go in with the Bare Minerals Frame and Define Brow Styler Crayon in Universal Dark. I usually do my tails first because both of my tails come down. I have hooded eyes, so having your eyebrows come down kind of like closes in your eyes a little bit more. So I like to flick them out a little bit straighter. So I usually start with the tails. All right, after I have my tails and my arches done, which you can see this one's like more of an angled arch and this one's more of like a rounded arch. I really do try and make those more symmetric, but when I was in college, I think, my mom and I went to a Dior makeup class, and I remember back then the guy was like, "Oh, I love your brows, they're so bushy and like crazy," and I was like, "Oh, great, I don't like them because they're bushy and crazy." He's like, "Well, the one thing to always remember is that your brows should look like sisters, not twins." He said, even if they look like long extended cousins, that's okay as long as they're in the same family. Just in general, we are human beings. We are not completely symmetric. So I always remember that and I always get a laugh out of it. But yeah, your brows should look like sisters, not twins. All right, to add some dimension, we're gonna jump into the NYX Tinted Brow Mascara in the color Espresso. Looks like this. Now, I do really like this stuff. It's not necessarily my favorite, and the only reason being is because the applicator is a little big for me. I do prefer a much shorter bristle section, but it works the same nonetheless, just there to give a little bit of dimension, but also to kind of hold stuff in place. And now we are going to finally jump into this eyeshadow palette. And I am first going to prime with the NYX HD High Definition Eyeshadow Base. I don't think this has a color. If it does, it is worn off. So the number on the bottom is ESB, which I'm assuming is Eyeshadow Base. Number 4. Looks like this. It's got a nice applicator. Just do kind of a small amount. I'm not looking to conceal anything on my eyelids. Again, going back to that same Dior eyeshadow or makeup class, the guy there, the same one that's said your eyebrows should look like sisters, not twins, he always said during the class, he kept saying, the color of your eyelid should assist you in the color of your eyeshadow. Now, if you are going for high pigment or high color, or you're doing a crazy cut crease and you want things to be super precise and you want a blank canvas, I get it. But this is definitely just like a natural, everyday kind of look that I'm going for today. So we are going to jump into this palette. Here it is again, just so that you can see all the colors. I think I'm going to jump into Nana Pudding right here as like a transition shade. And I haven't used this yet, so I have no idea what the color payoff is or how it's gonna work or anything like that. So we are diving into this together. And right off the bat, I don't really see anything, but this is also a color that's like very similar to my skin tone. So that could be it. All right, so I'm looking in my mirror. I don't see too much color payoff, but again, like I said, this color is pretty similar to my actual skin tone, I would think. So I'm going to dive into bread pudding up here. Just actually, I love bread pudding, and one of my favorite restaurants just stopped making a bread pudding that I love. So upset about it, so I've got to figure out how to make it myself at home now. So there is definitely some more payoff in this. I think I probably should have used this color as the transition color instead of using Nana Pudding, just because it shows up a little more and I like it better. All right, so I think we are going to dive in here a little bit to Warm Cocoa down at the bottom. I'm gonna switch brushes though, because I wanna kind of place where this goes. This is an e.l.f. crease brush. Oh gosh. e.l.f. crease brush. It's very small. It is very similar to the shape of my Morphe brush, just a little more compact so that I can be a little more precise with it. Okay, I'm going to take that same color and I'm going to bring it down underneath my eye here. Okay, and then I'm going to go back to my Morphe brush and the bread pudding color to just blend this a little bit more and to bring it further in. And now that I'm thinking about it, using this palette, I really do wish it has a mirror. I didn't even think about that. While this is super cute at the top, I'm one of those people who, even if I'm sitting in my bathroom doing my makeup, I use the mirror of the eyeshadow palette that I'm working with. For me personally, I just am quicker at doing things that way. Okay, and then I'm going to dip back into Nana Pudding on the lower lash line, just kind of on the inside, and then blend it through and kind of underneath those other two colors, just so that everything looks a little more well blended there. So now I'm having a hard time kind of deciding what I want to put on my eyelid. I think I am going to use a little bit of the Nana Pudding kind of on the center, but then I don't know whether I want to dive into Butterscotched, which is kind of like this really pink undertone glitter, or if I want to dive into Spiced Caramel. Chia Pudding is definitely a little too dark for me for today, just for everyday wear. And I think Spiced Caramel might be also. So what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to use all three and I'm just going to kind of gradate them. So we'll go in with a little Nana Pudding on the inner corner here. This is not as my highlight. This is just to kind of make it so that the butterscotched and the spiced caramel don't just adhere right to the front there, because I do want that little bit of gradation. Okay, I'm gonna go in with spiced caramel on my finger, and I'm gonna kind of go on the outer. This is maybe like if there was like a 1, 2, 3, and 4, it's at kind of 3. All right, and then I'm gonna go into butterscotched, kind of at where 2 would be. Ooh, that came up brighter than I expected, and it also isn't paying off in a pink color like it looks in the pan. It's coming up more, I'd say more just like a neutral, like no pink or anything. And then I am going to go back to the little e.l.f. crease brush, a tad into this Nana Pudding color, again, just because I want this to be a more of a soft gradation here. And then I'm going to go into Rice Pudding, which is definitely meant to be the highlighter color of this palette. It is matte, so let's see what color it comes out. I don't know if it came out any color at all. Yeah, I don't think that really did anything. And then lastly, I'm gonna go back to my Morphe and I'm just gonna kind of tap over these two just to blend them a little bit out here. All right, for mascara, I usually use 2 mascaras a day. I use one for my upper and one for my lower. So I use this Maybelline Lash Discovery Waterproof. It has a mini brush and I really love how tiny this brush is. It's just really super precise and easy to get into things. And then as you just saw in my hand is the Damn Girl mascara. This has a wand that is very similar to the Better Than Sex wand. But the formula itself is way thicker. And I do like that, so. Alrighty, so I am going to go off camera really quick and do my hair and I'll be right back. Alright guys, so this is the end result. I quickly blow dried my hair, which by quickly I mean not quick at all because I am not quick at doing that and it takes forever. I used a tapered curling wand to put the curls in. I kind of angled it starting at my chin downward just so that it kind of lays where it's currently laying like this. And then for some odd reason today, I don't know, I felt like doing a middle part, so that's what I went with. If you guys liked this video today and or want to see more from me, or you just want to support a new YouTuber, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really means a lot to me. It would help me out tremendously, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!